What if everything we've been told about the man in yellow is only half the truth? The trailer for From Season 4, Episode 9 has just dropped, and hidden within a few seconds of footage are clues that could completely change how we see the town, the bottle tree, Victor's past, and even Sophia's true purpose. From terrifying warnings about unimaginable suffering, to Victor seemingly reaching his breaking point, to a mysterious photograph that could expose a secret buried for decades, this trailer feels less like a preview and more like a countdown to disaster. And the most disturbing part is that some of these clues suggest the town may be repeating a cycle that has happened before. So let's break down every major moment, uncover the hidden details you might have missed, and figure out what Episode 9 could reveal before the Season 4 finale changes everything. The trailer wastes absolutely no time in setting the tone for what could be the most important episode of the entire season. Right from the opening moments, we're thrown back into the growing mystery surrounding Sophia and the man in yellow. After everything we've seen so far, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Sophia is no ordinary resident of the town. In fact, Episode 9 might finally start pulling back the curtain on who she really is, and why she seems connected to nearly every major event happening in Fromville. The most chilling moment in the trailer comes when Sophia approaches Clara and asks a very simple but terrifying question. She says, "Do you know who I really am? Maybe if you look closer." On the surface, it sounds like a harmless sentence, but the way it's delivered completely changes its meaning. Sophia isn't asking Clara a question. She's challenging her to see something hidden, something that has been right in front of everyone this entire time. As Sophia moves closer, Clara's expression immediately changes. She goes from confusion to outright fear. Then she says, "Oh God." That reaction alone raises a huge question. What exactly did Clara see? The trailer never gives us a direct answer, but there are several possibilities worth considering. The most obvious theory is that Sophia somehow reveals her connection to the man in yellow. Throughout Season 4, the similarities between the two characters have become impossible to ignore. They share the same unsettling confidence. They both seem to know far more than they should. And perhaps, most importantly, they both appear to enjoy manipulating people psychologically rather than physically attacking them. The fear on Clara's face could suggest that she's witnessing something impossible. Maybe she sees Sophia transform, maybe she sees another version of her, or maybe she's shown a truth that nobody in the town was ever supposed to discover. What's interesting is that the trailer appears to show some kind of transformation sequence. It's brief, but it stands out. If that scene is connected to Clara's reaction, then Episode 9 could finally confirm one of the biggest theories of the season. The idea that Sophia and the man in yellow are somehow the same entity, not necessarily in a simple shape-shifting way, but perhaps two forms of the same force that has been controlling events behind the scenes. However, there may be something even darker happening here. Throughout the season, Sophia hasn't simply been scaring people, she's been influencing them. Henry is the perfect example. Ever since his encounters with her, he's become increasingly detached from reality. It's almost as if Sophia has been feeding him visions, or showing him another world that he can't stop thinking about. If she can do that to Henry, then who's to say she can't do the same thing to Clara? This could explain why Clara looks less shocked and more trapped in that moment. Perhaps Sophia isn't revealing a secret. Perhaps she's placing something inside Clara's mind. A vision, a memory, a message, something that will slowly take control of her thoughts. If that's the case, Clara could become one of the most important characters in the final episodes without even realizing it. And that leads us to another hidden detail that many viewers may have missed. Immediately after this interaction, Sophia asks Clara if she likes games. Then she says that she loves them. At first, this sounds like a strange line of dialogue, but when you think about everything that's happened in Fromville, the word game suddenly becomes very important. Nearly every major tragedy in the town feels orchestrated. People are pushed towards specific choices. Information is revealed at specific moments. Hope is given to people only to be taken away again. It's almost as if someone has been moving pieces around a board and watching the results unfold. Sophia's comment may be the closest thing we've received to a confession. If she truly sees everything as a game, then the residents aren't people to her, they're players, pieces, test subjects. And if that's true, then the warning given by the man in yellow about unimaginable suffering starts to sound even more disturbing, because it suggests that whatever is about to happen isn't an accident. It's part of a larger plan. The scariest possibility is that Clara may become the first victim of that plan. The trailer repeatedly focuses on her reactions rather than Sophia's actions. That's a deliberate choice. It tells us that whatever Clara experiences in episode 9 will have major consequences moving forward. Whether she's shown the truth about Sophia, manipulated into doing something dangerous, or becomes a pawn in a much bigger game, one thing seems certain. By the end of this episode, Clara may know something that changes everything we thought we understood about the town. After the shocking encounter between Sophia and Clara, the trailer shifts its focus toward what may be the central conflict of episode 9, the decision to dig up the bones beneath the bottle tree. And judging by the reactions of several characters, this isn't just another risky mission. This feels like a moment that could change the future of the entire town. One of the most important scenes in the trailer takes place inside the sheriff's office, where Boyd, Tabitha, and Jade appear to be discussing their next move. Boyd makes it clear that he's ready to move forward with the plan. He says that when the sun comes up, he wants people ready to put shovels in the ground and start digging. What's fascinating about this moment is how much Boyd's attitude has changed. Earlier in the season, Boyd was cautious whenever the conversation turned toward the caves, the bottle tree, or the strange clues connected to the town's origins. He understood better than most that every answer in Fromville usually comes with a terrible price. Yet now, despite receiving a direct warning from the man in yellow, he's choosing to continue anyway. That decision could reveal something important about Boyd's mindset. For years, Boyd has watched people suffer. He's watched friends die, he's watched families break apart, and every time the town offers a possible path toward answers, something gets in the way. At this point, Boyd may simply believe that standing still is more dangerous than moving forward. If the man in yellow is warning them not to dig, then Boyd likely sees that as proof that they're finally getting close to something important. But what if that's exactly what the man in yellow wants him to think? This is where the trailer becomes incredibly interesting. The warning given to Tabitha wasn't vague. It wasn't symbolic. It was direct. The man in yellow essentially told her that if they continue searching for the bones, unimaginable suffering will follow. Naturally, most people would interpret that as a threat, a villain trying to scare the heroes away from discovering the truth. However, what if it wasn't a threat at all? What if it was a warning? This possibility completely changes the situation. Throughout the series, viewers have assumed that the man in yellow exists purely to cause pain and chaos, but episode 9 may finally force us to question that assumption. What if the suffering he mentioned isn't something he's planning to create? What if it's something that's already waiting beneath the surface? Think about it for a moment. Every major mystery in Fromville seems connected to the past. The caves, the children, the bottle tree, Victor's memories, the massacre. Everything leads back to events that happened long before Boyd and the others arrived. Digging up those bones could be more than an investigation. It could be disturbing something that was deliberately buried. And that brings us to Victor. One of the most emotional moments in the trailer shows Victor appearing completely overwhelmed. We see Boyd chasing after him, calling his name, while Victor looks like he's on the verge of breaking down. For a character who has spent most of the series quietly carrying unimaginable trauma, this reaction stands out immediately. Victor knows things that nobody else knows. He's survived longer than anyone. He's witnessed events that most residents can't even imagine. And perhaps most importantly, he remembers pieces of the previous cycle. That's why his reaction should not be ignored. If Victor is terrified of what Boyd's group is about to do, there's probably a reason for it. He may know exactly what happened the last time people got too close to the truth. He may know what triggered the massacre that wiped out nearly everyone in the town years ago. The trailer even gives us another clue when the boy in white appears and asks Victor a strange question. Do you know what the others are doing? At first glance, the question seems simple, but the boy in white rarely says anything without a deeper meaning. The fact that he's specifically asking Victor about the actions of the others suggests that their plan is extremely important, almost as if a line is about to be crossed. What's even more concerning is that the boy in white doesn't appear relieved. He doesn't seem excited that answers might finally be discovered. Instead, the scene carries an uncomfortable feeling, as though time is running out and mistakes are about to be made. This connects directly to something the boy in white said earlier in the season when he warned that there wasn't much time left. At the time, many viewers assumed he was referring to a single character. But what if he was talking about the town itself? What if episode 9 marks the beginning of another cycle? The possibility becomes even more frightening when you remember Victor's stories about the massacre. For years, fans have wondered what truly caused that tragedy. Was it the monsters? Was it human conflict? Or was it the result of someone uncovering a secret they were never meant to find? The trailer seems to suggest that the answer may finally be coming. Because if digging up the bones and destroying the bottle tree are connected to the events of the past, then Boyd's group may unknowingly be repeating the exact same mistakes that doomed the previous generation. And if history is about to repeat itself, the town could be heading toward its darkest chapter yet. For the first time all season, it feels like the characters aren't walking toward answers. They're walking toward a disaster that's already happened before. While Boyd and the others appear focused on the bottle tree and the bones, the trailer quietly slips in another mystery that could end up being even more important. And surprisingly, it centers around Elgin. For most of Season 4, Elgin has operated on the edge of the main storyline. He's been investigating clues, paying attention to details others overlook, and trying to connect pieces of a puzzle that nobody fully understands. But Episode 9 may finally place him at the center of a major revelation. One of the most intriguing shots in the trailer shows Elgin searching through a box of old items before pulling out what appears to be a Polaroid photograph. The scene only lasts a few seconds, but it immediately raises several questions. Why is the photograph important? Why did the trailer specifically focus on it? And most importantly, what could Elgin possibly see in that picture that makes it worthy of trailer time? The answer may be connected directly to Sophia. Throughout this season, there has been a growing feeling that Sophia doesn't belong to the same timeline as everyone else. She seems too knowledgeable, too comfortable, too aware of things she shouldn't know. Unlike other residents who struggle to understand the rules of the town, Sophia behaves as though she already understands them. That has led many viewers to believe she may have existed in previous cycles. If that's true, then the photograph could become the first piece of physical evidence proving it. Imagine Elgin looking at an old picture from decades ago only to discover Sophia standing there unchanged. Same appearance, same face, same unsettling smile. If that happened, it would instantly confirm that she isn't a normal human being. And if Sophia has been present across multiple generations, then she may be far older and far more dangerous than anyone realizes. What's particularly interesting is that From has always relied heavily on memories, stories, drawings, and visions. Physical proof is extremely rare. Most clues can be questioned or interpreted in different ways, but a photograph is different. A photograph doesn't care about opinions. A photograph captures a moment. And if that moment reveals Sophia existing decades before she should, the entire town may finally have undeniable evidence that something impossible is happening. However, discovering the truth and surviving long enough to share it are two very different things. This is where Elgin's situation becomes incredibly dangerous. The trailer doesn't show him immediately telling Boyd or Tabitha what he finds. Instead, the scene creates the feeling that he's investigating alone. And in Fromville, characters who investigate alone rarely end up in good situations. In fact, some of the biggest tragedies in the series have happened because someone discovered information they weren't supposed to know. The town seems to have a way of punishing curiosity. That's why I have a strong feeling that Elgin may place himself directly in danger after finding this photograph. If he realizes Sophia is connected to the town's past, he may try confronting her himself. He may believe he can expose her. He may think he finally understands what's happening. But what if Sophia already knows he's getting close? One thing we've learned this season is that Sophia always seems to be several steps ahead of everyone else. She knows where people are. She knows what they're thinking. And she appears to understand events before they happen. That level of awareness suggests she isn't simply reacting to situations. She's controlling them. And that brings us back to one of the most important lines in the entire trailer. I'm playing so many of them right now. At first, that line sounds playful, but when you really think about it, it's terrifying, because Sophia isn't talking about one game. She's talking about multiple games. That implies multiple plans, multiple manipulations, multiple people being used without realizing it. Boyd could be part of one game, Tabitha could be part of another. Victor could be involved in a completely different one. And Elgin may have unknowingly stepped into a game that was designed specifically for him. The more you examine Sophia's actions throughout Season 4, the more it feels like she's constantly nudging characters towards certain decisions, almost as if she's creating reactions and then watching the consequences unfold. If that's true, then the photograph may not have been hidden accidentally. It may have been meant to be found. Think about how disturbing that possibility is. What if Sophia wanted Elgin to discover it? What if finding the photograph is simply the next move in a larger strategy? That would completely change how we view this scene. Instead of Elgin uncovering a secret, he could actually be walking into a trap. And if Sophia truly sees the residents as pieces on a game board, then revealing certain information at certain moments could be part of the entertainment. The most dangerous villains aren't the ones who attack directly. They're the ones who make you believe you're in control. As the trailer continues, the feeling that Sophia is orchestrating events becomes harder and harder to ignore. Every storyline seems to connect back to her in some way. Every mystery somehow circles back to her presence. And if Episode 9 finally confirms her connection to the town's history, then viewers may realize that the man in yellow isn't the only force pulling the strings. There may have been another player hiding in plain sight all along. And by the time the residents finally understand the rules of her game, it might already be too late to stop it. As mysterious as Sophia's storyline is, the final section of the trailer may contain the biggest hidden clue of all. And surprisingly, it doesn't involve Sophia, Boyd, or even the man in yellow. Instead, it centers around Tabitha, Ethan, and the mysterious children who continue to appear throughout the series. Near the end of the trailer, we see Tabitha sitting with Ethan when something unusual happens. The sacrificed children suddenly appear in front of her. What's important here is not simply the fact that they're appearing again. At this point, viewers almost expect that. What's important is what they're doing. They're pointing. That single detail could end up meaning everything. The children aren't speaking. They're not attacking. They're not trying to frighten anyone. They're directing Tabitha's attention towards something specific. And whenever From chooses to have characters point towards something rather than explain it directly, it usually means a major clue is hiding nearby. The obvious question becomes, what exactly are they pointing at? One possibility is that they're guiding Tabitha toward an answer connected to the town's past. Throughout the series, the children have consistently been linked to forgotten memories, buried truths, and events that happened long before the current residents arrived. Their appearances rarely happen without purpose. In many ways, they almost function like messengers trying to communicate across time. If that's the case, then their appearance in Episode 9 could suggest that the truth about the town is finally within reach. What's especially interesting is the connection between Tabitha and Miranda. Over the last few seasons, the show has repeatedly hinted that their stories mirror one another. Both women experienced visions. Both became obsessed with understanding the town. Both seem destined to uncover something important. Because of those parallels, I can't help wondering if the children are directing Tabitha toward a location that Miranda once discovered. Perhaps somewhere that has remained hidden ever since. Perhaps somewhere connected to the massacre. And perhaps somewhere connected to Victor. The trailer doesn't give us a clear answer, but one location immediately comes to mind: the root cellar. Longtime viewers will remember how important that location has been throughout the story. It's tied to Victor's childhood memories, the events surrounding the massacre, and some of the darkest moments in the town's history. If another disaster is approaching, it would make sense for the story to revisit one of the safest hiding places from the previous cycle. In fact, there may be a deeper reason for this. Throughout Season 4, there has been a noticeable emphasis on Ethan following a path similar to Victor's. Bot.